You are paying a hidden tax that is liquidating your soul in real time, and your bank statement is the only thing hiding this bankruptcy. To the world, you are a winner, but inside, you are a high-performance hostage, just one nervous breakdown or one bad headline away from a total identity collapse. Why does the man who conquered everything feel like he owns nothing, not even his own peace? Today, we will not do self-help. We will perform a surgical liquidation. I'm going to reveal the 12 invisible anchors you need to remove right now to stop bleeding energy into a market that does not care if you live or die. We are going to install a Stoic firewall in your nervous system and return to you the command of the only account that truly matters, your peace of mind. If you want to stop being a servant to the noise and return to the throne of your own life, pay close attention. Your rescue begins now. Topic 01. The oxygen of later. You are currently losing your life because you are trying to live it in a future that does not exist and a past that is already dead. Most high performers in 2026 are mentally spread across a decade of what-ifs and a year of if-onlys, which leaves exactly 0% of their processing power for the task they are holding in their hands right now. This is the ultimate form of professional and personal inefficiency. You must collapse your entire timeline into a single atomic moment that is so small that anxiety has no room to breathe inside it. Anxiety requires a future to survive because it needs the oxygen of later and the fuel of what might happen. By anchoring yourself in the gravity of the present second, you starve the monster of its life force. There is an ancient wisdom that tells us not to let the impression of our life as a whole confound us and instructs us not to dwell on all the various troubles that may come to pass, but in every case to ask ourselves what there is in this that is intolerable and past bearing, because we will be ashamed to confess it. We are reminded that it is only the present moment that we can lose, because that is all we ever truly have. You are currently treating your life like a marathon you have already run in your head 1,000 times, but the only thing you actually have to manage is the next step. When you focus on the quality of your next breath and the precision of your next sentence and the integrity of your next decision, you become invincible, because the future has no way to attack a man who is not there yet. This is the victory of the microscopic. You are no longer overwhelmed by the mountain because you have turned your entire world into the single grain of sand beneath your boot. This radical presence is the only true antidote to the macroscopic noise of the modern world. You are reclaiming the power of the now, which is the only coordinate where your agency actually exists. Every time your mind tries to leap into the next hour or the next month, you must pull it back with the force of a black hole to the work in front of you. This is the gravity that keeps you grounded while everyone else is being swept away by the winds of speculation. You are building a life of substance in a world of shadows. Now that you have anchored yourself in the present, you must prepare to deal with the heaviest baggage you are still carrying. We are about to discuss why the opinions of other people are not assets you should manage, but liabilities you should amortize until they reach a value of 0. Topic 02. The simulated crisis. You are currently engaging in a form of mental theater where you act out the drama of a crisis without ever resolving the plot. This theater is expensive because it costs you the very clarity you need to actually save your business or protect your family. Your ego wants to feel like it is doing something important, and since it cannot control the global economy or the shifting opinions of your board of directors, it settles for the next best thing, which is simulating a crisis. It convinces you that your anxiety is a form of labor, and that as long as you feel bad enough, you are somehow contributing to a solution. This is a complete hallucination that drains your real power while leaving the original problem untouched. It has been said that there are more things likely to frighten us than there are to crush us, and we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. You are currently suffering in a simulated future that may never happen, and in doing so you are bankrupting your present power. Remember that things stand outside of us, and they stay by themselves, having no knowledge or opinion of their own. It is our own power of judgment that adds the narrative of pain and transforms a neutral event into a personal disaster. You must realize that your worry is not a shield, but a shackle that prevents you from actually moving your hands and your mind toward a real result. By identifying this voice as a saboteur rather than a protector, you strip it of its authority over your nervous system. You are not being irresponsible by being at peace. You are being strategic because a calm mind sees the gaps that a panicked mind misses entirely. It is time to fire the saboteur and hire the commander who understands that results are the only thing that matters. Now that we have exposed the fake protector, we need to move to the most radical weapon in the Stoic arsenal, which is the power of total silence in the face of the world's demands. We are about to discuss why the most powerful thing you can do for your career is to simply not have an opinion about things that do not involve your direct action. Topic 03. The internal saboteur's guilt. You are being lied to by a voice inside your own head that tells you that if you stop worrying, you are somehow being irresponsible or cold-hearted. This is the silent strike of the internal saboteur, which is a sophisticated ego trap designed to keep you in a state of productive paralysis. Your ego wants to feel like it is doing something important, and since it cannot control the global economy or the shifting opinions of your board of directors, it settles for the next best thing, which is simulating a crisis. It convinces you that your anxiety is a form of labor, and that as long as you feel bad enough, you are somehow contributing to a solution. This is a complete hallucination that drains your real power while leaving the original problem untouched. You must realize that your worry is not a shield, but a shackle that prevents you from actually moving your hands and your mind toward a real result. We are taught to do every act of our life as though it were the very last, and to free ourselves from all distractions and from the fickle influence of the passions, and from the vanity of the ego. Your internal saboteur is the master of vanity because it makes your suffering the center of the universe. It whispers that if you stop checking the news, or if you stop ruminating on a past mistake, you are failing your duty as a leader or a provider. In reality, the exact opposite is true, because a leader who is paralyzed by useless concern is a leader who has already abandoned his post. You are currently engaging in a form of mental theater where you act out the drama of a crisis without ever resolving the plot. This theater is expensive because it costs you the very clarity you need to actually save your business or protect your family. You must recognize that your concern is a finite currency, and every time you spend it on something you cannot change, you are stealing from your own future success. The internal saboteur hates silence, and it hates logic because those are the only two things that can kill it. By identifying this voice as a saboteur rather than a protector, you strip it of its authority over your nervous system. You are not being irresponsible by being at peace. You are being strategic because a calm mind sees the gaps that a panicked mind misses entirely. You have been conditioned to believe that a furrowed brow and a racing heart are the marks of a serious person, but they are actually the marks of a person who has lost his way. It is time to fire the saboteur and hire the commander who understands that results are the only thing that matters. Now that we have exposed the fake protector, we need to move to the most radical weapon in the Stoic arsenal, which is the power of total focus in a world of infinite distraction. We are about to discuss how you are currently violating the laws of psychological physics by trying to fight a war on an infinite front. Topic 04. The macroscopic noise. You are currently violating the laws of psychological physics by trying to fight a war on an infinite front because you have turned your mind into a floodlight instead of a laser. You were never biologically designed to carry the weight of 7 billion people or to process every tragedy that happens 10,000 miles away from your doorstep. This macroscopic noise is a form of digital pollution that is drowning out the signal of your own purpose. When you try to be aware of everything, you end up being effective at nothing. You must exchange the wide and shallow floodlight of global concern for the narrow and deep laser of microscopic focus. The core rule of life is that some things are in our control and others are not. In our control are opinion and pursuit and desire and aversion, and in a word, whatever are our own actions. Things not in our control are body and property and reputation and command, and in one word, whatever are not our own actions. If we suppose that things which are foreign are our own, we will be hindered and we will lament and we will be disturbed. You are currently disturbed because you are trying to own the problems of the entire planet, while your own household and your own business and your own soul are neglected. You must withdraw your forces from the edges of the map and bring them back to the center of your empire. Stop acting as if having an opinion on a distant conflict makes you a better person when it only makes you a more distracted one. True virtue is not found in how much you know about the world, but in how much you master the small territory you actually inhabit. By shrinking your world, you are not being small-minded, you are being strategically lethal. You are focusing your energy on the only coordinates where you can actually land a strike and make a difference. This is the difference between a spectator who watches the storm and a captain who navigates his ship. The world wants your attention because your attention is the fuel for their outrage machines, but you are going to deny them that fuel. You are going to reclaim your mental borders and stand guard at the gates of your mind. Now that you have silenced the noise of the world, it is time to face the noise of the people standing right next to you. We are about to dismantle the most fragile thing you own, which is your desire to be liked by people you do not even respect. Topic 05. The porcelain reputation. You are currently working a second job that pays nothing and costs you everything, because you are trying to manage your reputation in the minds of people who do not even know who you are. This is a massive drain on your psychological equity. You must realize that your reputation is not your property. It is a collection of images and biases stored in the faulty hardware of other people's brains. Trying to control it is like trying to catch the wind with a net. You are exhausted because you are building a monument out of porcelain in the middle of a hurricane. We should look at the speed with which all things are forgotten and the vastness of time that swallows everything. Why do we care about the noise of tongues when the people praising us today will be gone tomorrow? You are currently a subsidiary to the perceptions of your colleagues and strangers on the internet. You must amortize the value of human opinion until it reaches a book value of 0. When you stop caring what others think, you don't become a villain. You become a sovereign. You regain the power to act based on your own character instead of acting based on a script written by a crowd of spectators. This is the moment you stop being a servant to the marketplace of approval and start being the captain of your own soul. The relief that comes with this liquidation is instantaneous because you no longer have to defend the borders that do not exist. You are free to be honest, and you are free to be still. Now that we have demolished the house of mirrors that was your public image, it is time to address the moral debt you feel toward the digital world. We are about to discuss why having an opinion on every headline is a form of self-sabotage that is keeping you from your real mission. Topic 06. The theater of public outrage. You are currently laboring under a false moral debt because you believe that having an opinion on every digital scandal is a requirement for being a good person. This is the theater of public outrage, and it is a trap designed to harvest your attention for profit. Every time a new headline breaks or a celebrity is cancelled or a global trend goes viral, you feel a frantic pressure to take a side and announce your position to the void. You must realize that you have the absolute power to hold no opinion about things that do not involve your character or your direct action. This is the ultimate luxury of the sovereign mind. It is possible to have no opinion about a thing and not to be disturbed in our soul, because things themselves have no natural power to form our judgments. You are currently allowing the algorithm to dictate your emotional state by feeding you reasons to be angry about things that have zero impact on your actual reality. This is not activism, but a form of self-sabotage that keeps you from your real mission. When you stop participating in the outrage machine, you do not become ignorant, you become focused. You are reclaiming the thousands of hours you would have spent arguing with strangers or ruminating on events 10,000 miles away. Your silence is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of absolute self-possession. You are refusing to let the world use your nervous system as its playground. By liquidating this moral debt, you are freeing up the mental bandwidth required to actually solve the problems that are within your reach. You are closing the tab of the world's chaos so that you can open the book of your own life. Now that you have stepped off the stage of public theater, it is time to look at the subsidiary identity you have been wearing. We are about to discuss why you must stop acting like a branch office of other people's expectations and start acting like the headquarters of your own existence. Topic 07. The subsidiary identity. You are currently living as a subsidiary of a corporation that you do not own because you have allowed the expectations of your colleagues and the whispers of your industry to become the board of directors of your life. This is a hostile takeover of your soul. You are acting like a branch office that must report every decision to a headquarters located in the minds of strangers who do not care about your happiness or your virtue. You must realize that your character is the only thing you truly possess, and everything else is just borrowed equipment that the world can reclaim at any moment. We are taught that if you wish for anything which belongs to others, then that which is your own is lost. You have lost your own agency because you are too busy trying to meet a quota of social and professional approval that is designed to keep you small and predictable. You are a sovereign being who has been conditioned to act like a servant to the marketplace of perceptions. It is time to shut down the branch offices and move all operations back to the center of your own being. You do not need a permit from the world to be who you are, and you do not need an audit from your peers to validate your worth. When you stop acting like a subsidiary, you finally become the CEO of your own existence. This shift changes everything because you no longer ask what the world wants from you, but what you demand of yourself. You are the only one who has to live with the consequences of your character, so you are the only one who should have a vote on your direction. This independence is the foundation of true power. Now that you have reclaimed your corporate headquarters, it is time to revoke the access of the digital intruders who are still living in your head for free. We are about to discuss why you must cancel the passports of the digital ghosts that are haunting your focus and stealing your peace. Topic 08. The passport of the mind. You are currently allowing digital ghosts to reside in your head for free because you have granted them a passport to your inner sanctuary. These are the headlines in the social media comments and the endless stream of notifications that have no physical power over you, but treat your mind like an open border. You must revoke these passports immediately and recognize that a flickering screen is not a direct threat to your biological survival. Your ancestors faced predators and famine while you are triggering the same survival response because of a string of text from a stranger you will never meet. This is a profound waste of your evolutionary heritage and a total surrender of your peace. It is true that every habit and faculty is maintained and increased by the corresponding actions. If you continue to give your attention to these digital intruders, you are training your mind to be a frantic and fearful place. You are effectively telling your nervous system that the opinion of a bot or a distant critic is as dangerous as a blade at your throat. It is not. It is just light hitting a piece of glass. It is time to close the border and enforce a strict policy of mental sovereignty, where you decide who enters and who is turned away at the gate. You do not owe these ghosts a single second of your focus or a single drop of your cortisol. When you revoke the passport of the mind, you realize that you are the only one who can truly disturb your own peace. The world can scream, but it cannot enter your inner citadel unless you open the gate yourself. By taking back this control, you are preparing yourself for the ultimate form of structural sovereignty, which is the total disconnection from the noise that is currently rorting your potential. You have spent too long being a spectator of other people's lives, and it is time to become the sole director of your own. Now that we have cleared the border of digital ghosts, we must look at the hidden entrance you have left wide open in your daily routine. We are about to discuss the informational backdoor that is allowing the global economy to live in your subconscious without your permission, and how to weld that door shut forever. Topic 09. The informational backdoor. You have allowed the world to install a permanent backdoor into your subconscious by maintaining a state of constant digital accessibility that is rotting your internal peace. You are currently living in a state of mental trespassing where global markets and political scandals and corporate demands can walk into your mind at 3 in the morning without ever knocking. This informational backdoor is a structural failure in your personal sovereignty that allows the global economy to live in your head for free while you pay the mortgage in stress and fragmented focus. You must weld this door shut by constructing a psychological black site, which is an internal and physical space that is totally disconnected from the digital noise. This is not about being a hermit, but about being a commander who understands that a headquarters under constant fire cannot produce a winning strategy. We should be like a soldier who is always ready and never distracted by the rumors of the camp. If you do not guard the door of your mind, then any passerby can enter and lead your thoughts into captivity. You are currently a prisoner of the push notification and a slave to the red dot on your screen because you have given the world a key to your most sacred territory. It is time to change the locks and revoke all access that you did not explicitly grant for a specific purpose. By creating periods of absolute disconnection, you are not missing out on the world, but you are finally showing up for yourself. You are reclaiming the silence required for deep thought and the solitude required for true virtue. This black site is where your real power is forged away from the prying eyes of the marketplace and the frantic energy of the crowd. When you close the informational back door, you stop being a reactive element in someone else's machine, and you start being the primary cause of your own actions. You are moving from a state of constant interruption to a state of deep and unbreakable presence. Now that you have secured the perimeter of your mind, it is time to address the heavy burden of the information you think you need to carry. We are about to dismantle the lie that staying informed is a moral duty and discuss the strategic ignorance required to protect your sanity. Topic 10. The moral debt of knowing. You are currently drowning in a sea of useless data because you have been tricked into believing that staying informed is a moral obligation and a sign of a responsible citizen. This is a profound lie designed to keep your mind occupied with things you cannot change while your actual life is being neglected. You feel a sense of guilt if you do not know the latest details of a political scandal or a distant conflict, but you must realize that this information is not a gift. It is a debt that you are paying with your focus and your sanity. There is a massive difference between being prepared for a local storm and being emotionally devastated by a global one. One is a practical action and the other is a biological surrender. You must implement a policy of strategic ignorance to protect the sanctuary of your consciousness from the garbage of the 24-hour news cycle. To be everywhere is to be nowhere. A person who spends their time traveling to many places ends up with many host connections, but no real friendships, and the same is true of the mind that tries to consume every piece of news. Such a mind is scattered and weak because it never stays long enough in one place to grow deep roots of wisdom or power. You are currently treating your brain like a trash can for the world's problems and then wondering why you feel anxious and ineffective. By choosing not to know about things that do not involve your direct character or your immediate sphere of influence, you are not being ignorant. You are being selectively brilliant. You are saving your processing power for the problems you were actually born to solve. This strategic withdrawal is the only way to maintain the clarity required for high-level leadership and personal virtue. Stop letting the world tell you what is important and start deciding for yourself what deserves a seat at the table of your mind. When you stop paying the moral debt of knowing, you suddenly find yourself with a massive surplus of time and energy that you can reinvest into your own empire. You are moving from a state of being a passive consumer of chaos to being an active creator of order. Now that you have cleared the clutter of useless information, it is time to look at the physical price you have been paying for your stress. We are about to discuss the biological ransom of your own health and how you have been trading your lifespan for data points that offer no return on investment. Topic 11. The biological ransom. You are currently paying a biological ransom because you are trading your cortisol and your actual lifespan for data points in a feedback loop that offers no return on your investment. Every time you feel that surge of adrenaline from a stressful email or a chaotic news story, you are literally shaving minutes off your life to satisfy a machine that does not know your name. This is a form of physiological bankruptcy where you are spending your most precious capital, which is your time and your health, on things that have zero impact on your virtue or your legacy. You must recognize your indifference as your highest form of wealth because it is the only thing that protects your body from the ravages of a world that wants to consume you. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements if it were all well invested. But when it is wasted in heedless luxury and spent on no good activity, we are forced at last by death's final constraint to realize that it has passed away before we knew it was passing. You are currently wasting your life on the luxury of stress and the activity of being worried about the global economy while your own heart and your own cells are paying the price. Stop treating your nervous system like a public utility that anyone can plug into and start treating it like a private sanctuary that must be defended at all costs. Your health is the foundation of your ability to act, and when you compromise it for the sake of staying informed or staying connected, you are sabotaging the very tool you need to succeed. The world is a predator that feeds on your attention and your stress, but you can starve it by becoming radically indifferent to everything. That is not your own direct responsibility. By reclaiming your physical calm, you are reclaiming your life from the hands of the thieves who have been stealing it from you one heartbeat at a time. This is not just a mental shift, but a biological revolution where you decide that your survival is more important than the world's entertainment. Now that you have stopped paying the ransom, it is time to focus your forces where they actually matter. We are about to discuss the power of the laser focus and why you must withdraw your forces from the edges of the map to defend the core of your own empire. Topic 12. The floodlight focus. You have spent too long playing a defensive game on a map that is far too large for your resources because you have been trying to protect every border and every interest at once. This is the exhaustion of the floodlight, which spreads its light so thin that it cannot pierce the darkness of a single room. You must withdraw your forces from the edges of the map and bring them back to the core of your own empire, where your actual power resides. This is the strategic retreat that precedes a total victory. You are not losing ground by ignoring the noise of the world, but you are gaining the concentration required to win the battles that are actually yours to fight. We must first consider the nature of the task and then our own capacity before we commit our soul to it. We cannot be many things at once, and we must choose to be either a philosopher or one of the vulgar by focusing our mind either on internal things or on external things. You have been trying to be both, and the result is a fragmented identity that is effective at nothing. It is time to turn your attention into a laser that is focused only on the coordinates where you can actually land. A strike and make a difference. This means choosing to be excellent in your immediate responsibilities and indifferent to the distractions that offer no path to virtue. When you stop trying to influence everything, you find that you have the absolute power to change the few things that truly matter. You are no longer a spectator of the infinite chaos, but the absolute director of your own soul. You are moving from a state of being overwhelmed by the world to a state of being the primary cause of your own reality. By shrinking your focus, you are expanding your impact because a concentrated force is always superior to a scattered one. Now that you have withdrawn your forces and secured your core, it is time to issue the final decree of your sovereignty. We are about to witness the coronation of the inward king, where you reclaim the throne of your life and declare your independence from the marketplace of panic forever. Conclusion: the architecture of exclusion is now complete, and the space you have cleared is not a vacuum, but a throne room for your own reason. You have successfully liquidated the 12 liabilities that were bankrupting your soul, and you have installed a firewall that the world cannot penetrate. You are no longer a spectator of the chaos, but the absolute director of your own life. This is the coronation of the inward king, where you realize that your happiness depends on nothing but the quality of your own thoughts and the integrity of your actions. Retire into yourself, for the rational principle which rules has this nature that it is content with itself when it does what is just, and so secures for itself tranquility. You have found that tranquility not by adding more to your life, but by having the courage to strip away everything that was not yours to begin with. Issue your final decree today that you will never again hand the keys of your sanity to analysts or strangers or digital ghosts. Your life is no longer a reaction to the marketplace, but a manifestation of your own will and your own virtue. You have ceased to be a subsidiary of the world and have become the headquarters of your own existence. The noise will continue and the storms will still blow, but they will no longer reach the inner citadel where you reside. Finally, the empire is yours, and it is an empire that no market crash or social trend can ever take away from you. You are the master of your fate and the captain of your soul. Go forth and live as a sovereign in a world of servants.